Hi, everyone. My name is Allison Brown, and I'm the marketing manager for Bizdata. The team and I at Bizdata thank you for joining us on this insightful webinar today. Presenting today with me will be Scott Puening, our Regional Sales Director. We will be learning how no-code data analytics is truly reforming a vast number of industries. Scott will be discussing our software solution, BizIntel 360 today. Please be sure to hold all questions towards the end of the webinar, as we will answer them at the conclusion of the slideshow presentation. Questions can be asked in the chat box on the right-hand corner of the screen. Please do not forget to follow Bizdata on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter for more insightful webinars, technology news, and other important announcements. We thank you again for joining us, and now I'll hand it over to Scott.
Great. Thank you, Allison. And thank you, everybody, for joining us today. I'm going to leave my camera on for a little bit here, but just for bandwidth's sake, I'll turn it off as we're presenting. But just wanted to introduce Bizdata, myself, and what we'll be talking about today. So I cover regional sales for us based in Southern California. We have a couple folks in Southern California as well, and about 100 employees worldwide, but we'll probably need about 20 to 25 minutes of your time. We'll try and make it pretty quick, because I know it's lunchtime out here on the West Coast, and everybody's pretty busy. So once again, appreciate the interest. And if you have any questions, please feel free to hold them to the end. We'll open it up, and you can also put them in the chat box, and Allison will read them off as we go. But let's get started. So a little bit about Bizdata. We're going to cover our BizIntel 360 platform. Last time we actually covered our eZintegration platform, more for the integration as a service. So we're going to continue doing these every couple of weeks, maybe once a month here going into the new year. But to start, BizIntel 360 is Bizdata's augmented analytics platform. It helps users, machines, IT hardware, really to solve enterprise problems with functional processing, providing insight, finding the root cause identification of problems with the help of powerful search engines and advanced big data visualization tools. Today, we're really going to explore the cloud-native augmented analytics platform that we have. Really provides real-time data analytics and empowers big data visualization across enterprises without having to write and rewrite new code. So kind of the agenda that we're going to follow today, we're going to give you a brief overview on Bizdata and our story, and how we came about, and from there, we'll take it into BizIntel 360, going through the technology, not getting too technical, but just giving you a brief understanding of, some of the markets that we serve, some of the day-to-day, things that our typical users will encounter, and how we can make their lives easier. From there, really moving into customer success and some of the industries that we can help and serve. And from there, we'll segue into some of our typical use cases, applications, and some of the typical, industries that we can help make successful. At the end, we'll open it up to questions and answers, and anything that you want to save to the end would be much appreciated, and we can read through them then. So a little bit about Bizdata, originally founded in the Bay Area in San Jose, founded by ex-employees of Oracle with 10 to 15 years experience in the ERP field, working around like SAP, Oracle, EBS. Actually transitioned into company RapidFlow, which is our parent company, and our founders really grew that to run the Oracle ecosystem, and we're also a global partner of Oracle. So Bizdata was been around a few years now. We really have our two core platforms, eZintegrations, which I just mentioned, which is integration platform as a service. more for connecting different data points, source and target, and automating a lot of your internal processes. BizIntel 360, which we're going to touch on today, we'll get into here in a minute, but it's more for big data analytics and structuring and unstructuring a lot of your internal data systems. So Bizdata's vision was really simply to aim to be the preferred platform of choice for data integration and big data analytics. What we really want to do is make our clients successful, reducing their costs, reducing their overhead, helping their clients and making their clients successful. So that's really our goal here, and helping our customers realize and capture the return on their investment with using a service like ours. And I mentioned we have two SaaS platforms, eZintegrations. It's an integration as a service, as known as iPaaS to some and in the field, but really for automating a lot of your internal processes. Typically companies would have to custom code and build a lot of custom solutions in-house. We had a good webinar last time where we were speaking of the benefits of custom coding compared to using a third-party platform, and we're starting to see that companies are always thinking that they can do these by themselves and do it in-house, and sometimes they realize that they get in way over their head, and they don't have the resources available, and people get pulled around from team to team, and at the end of the day it just costs them a lot more time than they were expecting, and it ends up being more money out of their pockets rather than buying a third-party solution like ours. BizIntel 360, like I mentioned, is for big data analytics. It's a no-code cloud-based platform, which we'll be focusing on more today and giving you an overview. So looking at the top of this slide, it really kind of gives you the way of things, how things have been done in the past and how a lot of companies are still doing it. The traditional method starts with a variety of data sources. Could be social, Internet of Things, HTTP endpoints, on-premise data, flat files, XML files, you name it. But really, it's there to be extracted, transformed, loaded, cleansed, building the relationship into the data warehouse, which is pretty time-consuming. From there, building the schema functions, you would move it into a data mart, which would also move into a data model. And finally, you'll have a pretty good view of your analytics, but it's tricky and confusing, I think, to a lot of people to decipher. For the typical business analyst, they're not going to really have a good understanding and have visibility into understanding what the data means. A lot of the time, a trained professional will even have a hard time making sense of it. So, looking at BizIntel 360, just the overview of how the data flow works. You're going to start with the same specific endpoints, whether they be cloud, on-premise, flat file, etc. But we take away a lot of the processes on the top. So you're going to see a better way to map the new relationship, without having to rewrite the new schemas, not having to rewrite the new code. There's no SQL involved. We give you the option to put the data into a data lake, which is secured and encrypted. And from there, you can really visually map it, easily get it into a reporting dashboard, which you can have a lot more visibility into all the different relationships within the company, and you can understand it much easier. And typically, you don't have to be a coder, you don't have to be a developer. A business analyst can really make sense of a lot of this data. Looking at the BizIntel 360 platform, there's a lot of things it can do. We're not going to touch on everything, but we just want to give you a really good snapshot view of the ease of use, what it can do and how it can, make it more beneficial to the end user. So starting with, volume, analytics are typically reported in real time. A lot of these companies are handling millions of transactions at a time, in a specific day. If it's like Black Friday or, the holidays were just, we just got through. So a lot of the time, that's the busiest time of year for a lot of companies. So using a data source you can connect and visualize and view the data in a single pane of glass dashboard is really nice. You get the manager. You have the option to connect a multitude of different sources and formats. It's a very secure environment. There's not a lot of risk or vulnerabilities out there. Security policies are standardized, for cloud and internal operations. It's a very cost-effective tool. The cost to implement, deploy, and get in operation is very minimal. There's no hardware or software to manage. The redundant technology isn't there, so it's not complex. It can be managed very easily, and it's very rapid. The go live times are reduced. The cycle times are going to be reduced. The implementation to get up and running is very straightforward. Cycle times are going to be kept at a minimum. Source to target through a streaming data pipeline is just that easy. So let's look at a couple of the unique features of BizIntel 360. And these almost seem too good to be true sometimes, but you're really going to get the seamless experience. And I like to compare it to where it's so easy to use. Somebody's grandmother could run it. So I don't know if your grandmother has a technical background or not, but I probably shouldn't say that. But a lot of our business analysts find this very easy to manage and read and deploy right away. So they don't typically have the developer and coding expertise, but they can manage this with minimal training. So there's not going to be any ETL investment required. There's not going to be any data warehouse to utilize. It's strictly a pathway to a data lake. You're going to get the 360-degree view, which really gives you a great way to visually map the data and get a good snapshot of everything that's going on. So there's no data to model. You're going to have the charts and graphs right at your fingertips. Deployment is super easy. It's easy to deploy, manage, visualize, and implement, and get running on your own. Looking at a couple good key product features of BizIntel 360. This isn't limited to everything, but I wanted to point out a couple of these where doing things the old method, you're not going to get a lot of the advantages of these specific features. So you're going to get a powerful search engine, which helps locate the necessary information without redundancy. You're getting the ability to connect with hybrid and multi-cloud environments. You're going to have the way to determine what your multiple data sources are, whether it be customers, suppliers, products, partners, or a way to even search for a specific keyword. Real-time stream events, to specific data sources. You're going to have the availability and ability to refresh every few seconds, have real-time visibility into a lot of the business process and transactions, which is really great. Also with, time dimensions, traditionally, time has always been defined as a dimension in the data model for the data warehouse to operate at different levels of time aggregation. In BizData's case, you're not going to have to define time as a dimension. It's actually already there by default, which is pretty nice that it's doing a lot of that activity and workloads for you. From here, this is a typical snapshot of what maybe a CTO or a CFO would see on their dashboard, which is very customizable. This just gives you an idea of what it would look like on a mobile device. A lot of the time they want this right away, and traditional methods are not going to give you that type of visibility. So they haven't had a lot of real-time access to the data. When you're looking at budgeting, planning, supply chain, this is a really good asset to determine where you're going. And a lot of the time that traditional methods aren't going to give you this option. So there's tons of information right at your fingertips in the mobile device area. This is a good slide that just gives you an idea of some of the type customers that we work with, vertical markets that we work with. some very worldwide known brands, and also some small to medium-sized businesses. And we find that no matter what size the company, whether it be 100 people or upwards of 100,000 people, a lot of them still have the same struggles with getting a good snapshot and visibility of their data. So brands like Unilever, Belkin, Continental Engines, they were all able to streamline a lot of their business models, get more visibility into their big data. And over there at the right, you'll just see a good idea of a lot of the different verticals that we work with. Obviously, people that are doing a lot of retail online, doing a lot of transactions, have compliance with, specific areas, whether it be healthcare or medical. Retail is always a big one for having better visibility into data. Software companies, whether it's cloud or on-premise, industrial manufacturing, healthcare, medical, like I mentioned, is really going to see a lot of benefit out of this. And also, the automotive industry, supply chain management, and it could go on and on. That's just to name a few of them. From there, really wanted to touch on some of the features, and this is just a couple of them, but wanted to keep it somewhat brief for time. But you're really going to see bottom line here is increased collaboration through dashboards and charts. Tons of reporting options. We give you the option to get over 70 types of dashboard reports. Ease of use, to work a lot with search engines, being able to search for exactly what you're looking for and pinpoint it. With BizIntel 360, you're going to get a really good 30,000 foot view of your data lake visibility and into your data sets, which you would never have before. Data quality is really going to increase. You're going to have a lot more enrichment. Data is going to be accurate and not missing the key criteria. You're going to also have the availability to connect hybrid and multi-cloud environments and have them scale horizontally, which they could never do before. The source data is really going to have the ability to build the relationships, which you can do with ease. And visibility, like I mentioned with the CFO type charts with the mobile devices, you're really going to have the availability to refresh and look at a real-time snapshot of your data down to 5 to 10 seconds, which never was an option before as well. So without getting too technical, let's discuss the platform architecture. Starting with your source target over there on the left, whether it be traditional methods, XML, flat file, cloud endpoints, HTTP endpoints, social mobile type endpoints. A lot of these are going to be either structured or unstructured. And, using your real-time data, you can move it to a secured lake, to a data lake. And, while you're doing that, you're going to convert the file into a JSON file, which makes it extremely more easy to format and, easily read from a specific location. The data can typically be viewed in the dashboards while keywords are indexed and searchable and at your fingertips to have a better visibility of all your key data. Looking at some of the typical pain points a lot of our customers come to us with, we find that it's pretty standard with a lot of the companies, and they also don't want to always tell us all this right up front, and we don't name names just to keep it confidential. But here's a global cosmetic manufacturing company that has a lot of different business process challenges, while processing millions of records daily, including how to budget for marketing, how to search for specific keywords, which campaigns are being successful, which ones aren't, which streams are bringing them the most revenue, which platforms are underperforming. You're really not getting the visibility across specific platforms. Truly, the data was all over the place for them. They were losing a lot of time and money, and more importantly, they weren't effectively, servicing their customers and having a lot of their staff work on projects maybe that they shouldn't have even been working on in the first place. So I think, there's always a debate, whether, money or time. And I think, money is something that, they can write off, but time we actually never get back. So I think if we could save time, that's going to be the most pain points, I think, for most companies. And, looking back at their use case, they saw a massive improvement in return on investment for their marketing spend. They were tracking and monitoring programs with ease, having a really good understanding of, what their customer behavior was, what they were buying, what weren't they buying, and how to predict and analyze that and replicate it. Knowing which channels to spend and put more resources into, and which needed more focus, and just get more visibility into where they needed to be spending their time. The marketing channels, they were easy to monetize. They gave them the most conversions, which basically gave them the most sales. Integration projects were launched, within a couple weeks. Down there at the bottom, you'll see that they got 10 weeks of their time back, which, going back to the time factor, it gave them so much more areas that they could spend their resources and their team, and and invest more into different areas in the company where they could see some benefit. Implementation times dropped 30%. Data lakes were created in way less time. So much time savings. Bottom line, they eliminated a lot of their unnecessary type processes. Time was saved, cost was minimized, and revenue eventually increased. So, great story about how they had a solution that wasn't working for them. They knew there was a problem. They decided to invest in the technology, and they saw return on investment within the first 12 months. So I wish every case could be like this, but we want to see customers really realize the importance of taking the next step. Let's look at which specific markets can see immediate benefits of having a data analytics platform here. Just looking at a couple of the specific use cases we can work with, a couple of the various areas of technologies that we can work with, and we're not limited to all these, but this is going to be a great tool for your marketing analytics, showing if your digital campaigns are working from a single dashboard, really giving you that great visibility into all your analytic activities within your marketing team. It's going to really give you a good snapshot of your dealers and what time real info is actually in stock, what products are out of stock, when you're going to have them back on hand, and when you can get them into your customers' hands. You can really pinpoint product quality. If there's a holdup in the supply chain, you can really show you where there's things that need to be fixed, and predict where things are going to break even before it happens. So a lot of great ways to predict what to spend your time on, what not to spend your time on. With internal emails, you're really going to get insight into critical alerts before they happen, and be able to predict and analyze and address problems internally before it becomes a major issue. Going to ERP systems, traditionally a ton of information has always been stored on premise, whether it be SAP, Oracle. Now you start to see a lot of cloud ERPs out there, and making more visibility and working with different systems better. So really getting a better sense and understanding of your data in real time is a huge benefit. And we didn't really touch much on CRM. Salesforce is obviously something that we work with, and they own a huge portion of the market, but we can work with your CRM to track customer data, forecast sales, marketing campaigns, and track all that within your CRM, and have that really availability about what your customers are doing, and if they're renewing, if they're not renewing, if they're happy, if they're not, and so forth. Product management bottlenecks do arise. You can more agilely identify the right methods, and predict when the wrong methods are also there, before they go into production, and really have a better proactive way to make all those product management issues not escalate into something worse. And lastly, let's also recruiting is something that I don't think people realize either, and it's incredibly time consuming, and a lot of money and time really goes into finding the right people. So you can actually use real-time data to identify which candidates you should be talking to, and based on what their demands are, where they're located, what their experience and salary requirements are, you can actually work with our analytics platform to help you with that. Pretty much like almost a needle in a haystack for real. I know that was a lot to take in, and I'm going to have a glass of water here, but wanted to open it up to Allison if we have any specific comments or feedback. And if you'd like to learn more, feel free to drop myself a note either through our info@bizdata360 email right there, or we could be happy to reach out to you and set up more individual time where we could get more technical and show you more of the platform and how it specifically relates to your internal use case. But Allison, I don't know if we had any questions or not, but happy to address those as well.
Thanks, Scott. Yeah, we did have a couple questions here. Our first question is, what is the difference between a data lake and a data warehouse?
Good question. And when you hear data and lakes and warehouses, it kind of gets a little confusing. Pretty much a data lake is going to contain a lot of your organization's data in a raw, unstructured form. It can store the data indefinitely for immediate or future use. It's really available to whenever you want to take it to a source and a target. A data warehouse is really containing only the structured data that's been cleansed, processed. It makes it ready for strategic analysis based on what the business wants to predefine it for. So they're kind of similar, but kind of not. But a data warehouse it can be very complex. They both actually can be complex, but I hope that helps with the understanding.
Yeah, that's great. We also actually have a second and third question. Let me get to the second question here.
Sure.
How long does it take your customers to see ROI on their investments?
Good question. We get asked this pretty frequently, and when we were a newer company, it was not always that easy to predict. But now that we've been pretty structured, and I've been in the business for quite a while now. But every customer case is going to be a little bit different, depending on what kind of data they're working with, how they want to manage it, and so forth. But I would say on average, 80% of our customers will see return on their initial investment within the first 12 months. Which really starts to show the benefit, and as they scale their business and take on new projects and bring on new customers, they're really going to start to exceed their investment 2 or 3 times. So you do start to see a lot of return in the first year, and as you utilize and grow your business, and within 2 or 3 years, you really start to monetize and get a lot more return than the initial investment. But no, good question.
Perfect. I do have a third question here. It's a 2-part question. First question is, how technically skilled is your typical user? Followed by, can it be managed by one person?
Okay. Well, I mentioned it might be a stretch for grandmothers to manage. But typically our users are not developers and not hardcore coders, and the platform is really not complex. You could easily manage it. Any business analyst could get a good understanding and process a lot of the information and run it on their own. So it's very easy for a business analyst to use and understand the data and so forth. But I'm not quite a business analyst yet. I would like to get there, but I've run it myself, and I found it very easy to use. But yeah, it doesn't require the technical background to manage.
Yeah, that's all the questions that I have for today. Thank you guys for coming and joining us on this webinar. We appreciate it.
Yes, very much. And likewise, thank you, Allison. And we're happy to set up some more time, and we plan to do these about once a month. So please be on the lookout for that, and really appreciate everybody's time. And any other things we can help with, or any other questions, happy to set up some more time individually with everybody.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Stay tuned.